Good Erev Shabbos, my atheist, anti-Cirque, anti-Jewish Messiah friends. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Pinchas. Pinchas is a very fascinating character. According to the Midrashim and many of the places in the Talmud, Pinchas was the famed prophet Elijah the prophet. And the problem with that, of course, is Pinchas lived approximately 500 or so years prior to Elijah. So how could Pinchas be Elijah? How could he have lived so long? There's no record of this. And in truth, the Kabbalah, that dirty word, Brian, heroes of the apostasy, the Kabbalah says that Pinchas' soul was reincarnated into the body of Elijah the prophet. And in fact, there's a whole cosmic dynamic that goes all the way back to Adam, and the sin of Adam, the sin of Cain and Abel, and our characteristics reflect these characters, these primordial paradigms of Adam, Cain, Abel, and to a certain degree Seth, but they set the tone for all of mankind and man's personality later on in the future. Now, all of us are either clones of Adam, clones of Cain, or clones of Abel, or their derivatives. We have the characteristics of those great but flawed men. And the Kabbalah tells us that there's such a thing as reincarnation. That when a person dies, the person can be reborn again under many circumstances. In fact, most people don't ever get to the pearly gates or to purgatory. They're recycled. Sometimes they have to go through recycling in various forms if their sins were great, such as if they were murderers or they were thieves or violated the public trust. But most of us get recycled into another body after we're gone. And Pinchas' soul was recycled into the body of Elijah. Now, why would he have to do that? And the answer is complicated, but it's based upon the transformation of the sin of Cain. Cain was a murderer, murdered his brother. The sin of Cain transforming that nature, transforming that soul into good, and that this will not be complete until the coming of the Messiah. This is a fascinating study in the Kabbalah of the complexities of reincarnation. According to the Kabbalah, there's a possibility for a person to be born with complex or multiple souls. And these take on two different forms. One that is original, and the other comes later, either because of some traumatic event where the person, through a trauma, loses his soul and gets another one in return, either a good trauma or a bad trauma, and either will get a higher level soul or lower level soul. And then there's the possibility that souls will become impregnated in our subconscious, and that impregnation of the subconscious can also be multiples. And so sometimes you wonder, you get an inspiration, you wonder where the inspiration is coming from. Or you're down and you don't know where the down feeling is coming from. Or you're confused and you don't know why there's confusion. The reason may be because either you're a complex soul, and whenever you have a decision to make, there are two different opinions, and in the back of your subconscious mind you don't know which way to turn. Or else you've become impregnated with the souls that are associated with the source of your soul. and either they're good or bad. They could be good to try to motivate you to do good, to overcome things, to be positive, to look at life and laugh and be able to overcome all that life sends your way. Or they could be negative, saying you can't overcome this, just do it the easy way. And these are sudden bursts of inspiration and motivation you can't understand, but you may be prone to, but they're coming from a power that's outside of you, a soul that has transmigrated into your subconscious, because that soul either is there to become elevated with you or to help you in the process of continuing to sin. And that's why if people that have complex personalities, personality disorders, there's even cases where people thought they were possessed or they had many different identities. All this is explained by anyone who has just a rudimentary understanding of the concept of reincarnation according to the Kabbalah. I'm not saying that this is scientific and that you can forget about all the psychological studies. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that this is a possibility to be explored by the psychologists and the psychiatrists out there. Learn the Shar HaGilgulim of the Ari,